Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ionia News Show. This is Tio speaking. To the left of me I got Sparks here. Hello Sparks. So anyway, we're going to be going over the big update today. We got a huge update coming up. This update's going to encompass everything in the server. It's literally going to be the biggest update we've ever done before. We're going to be adding a whole bunch of new plugins to the server, a whole bunch of new game content with that. We're going to be overhauling the economy, the rank system. We're going to be doing a whole lot. So there's a lot to talk about today. So yeah, we might as well go ahead and get started here. So first, I want to make it clear that the launch of this update won't be until September 12th. This ain't going to happen instantly. We still have a lot of different stuff to test, and really we're working on it right now, but we need just a little bit more time to get it all finalized. So September 12th is your date. Now, it won't all be released right on September 12th. After September 12th, we're going to go into a little beta period. Now, even though we are able to test this in our test server to quite an extent, there's still going to be some little bugs and glitches when we first release this stuff that are going to have to be ironed out. So we're going to go through a little beta period from the 12th until October 1st. October 1st, we're then going to be releasing some more content, and we'll also have fixes to any bugs and glitches that came up during the beta. After October 1st, we'll then be in the final phase of the new update, which we're going to call Ionia 2.0. And the reason we're calling it Ionia 2.0 is because this, once again, it's going to be the biggest update in the history of the server, and we're going to be adding so much to the game that it's really going to be like a new and improved Ionia. You know, the fundamentals of playing it are going to be very similar. It's going to be the same game overall, but it's just going to be better. It's going to be new. It's going to be fresh, and I think you guys are going to really like it. So, do you have any comments on that, Sparks?
No, nothing, just that I'm really excited to release this update.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, here, let's go ahead and get started. So, the first big announcement here is that we're going to be building a brand new spawn, okay? As a lot of you probably know, our current spawn doesn't look bad, but it's just not pro. It's not high-end. If you look at the buildings, a lot of them don't really match each other. They're not the same architecture type. The marketplace is much different in terms of the architecture style to the the spawn area. The marketplace has also gotten very messy due to players being able to edit it on the exterior. The rail station, although it looks very nice, it's disproportionately large compared to the rest of the spawn. There's just a lot of little flaws that I think need to be upgraded in order for us to really take the server to the next level. So we're going to be upgrading the spawn. That upgrade won't be there. That's going to be part of the second end of upgrade. So it won't be there. It won't be finished until October 1st. Okay, but we are going to be upgrading the spawn. The new spawn is going to be very awesome. So it's going to be a lot more well decorated. It's going to be just a lot more professional in general. We're still going to have a big central spawn building, kind of like we have now. And on top of that, we'll still have the bank. We'll still have the real estate office and a lot of the buildings that are currently there. There'll be new ones, of course. They're not going to be the same exact buildings, but we're going to have a version of that. Now, here's where some of the big changes come. The first big change is that rather than an outdoor marketplace, we're probably going to have a large indoor mall or something. I don't really know exactly how it's going to work just yet. We haven't finalized the details. There's still some debate. But there's going to be a brand new marketplace. It's going to be larger than the current one. It's going to be marketed a lot better so that players can, when they spawn, they can see all of the shops. The shops won't be as repetitive. The whole thing's going to be a lot more diverse in general than our current one. And we're going to actually be adding some, a small branch of our staff. We're going to be making sub-ranks of people who actually check up on it once a week. That way, there aren't shops where there's no stuff in. People are going to actually be held accountable for keeping their shops stocked anyway, so overall, the biggest improvement to the new spawn's probably going to be within the marketplace. It's going to be awesome. We're also going to have a new rail station. The new rail station is not going to be quite as disproportionately large as our current one, but it's still going to look just as nice, if not nicer. It's going to look very, very good. It just won't be quite as enormous. So other than that, we're also going to have like a new news building, probably about the same quality as our current one. Our current one looks pretty nice. The only difference is that it's going to be designed to go with the spawn a little bit better than our current one does. So and then another one of the big changes to the spawn is going to be that we're going to have a staff building. This is going to be like a very elaborate staff building with offices for all the staff members. We're going to have like testing rooms, and we're going to actually set it up to be used for communication as well. So we're going to have like staff mailboxes. We're going to have like a library in it with a code of law. It's going to be kind of cool. So, and it'll actually be open to the public for people to kind of go through and explore. So aside from that, we're also going to add like a kind of a server library, so to speak, where people can go to this library and look at all the books and everything. This one's still up in the air. It might not be in the final product, but we're really thinking about it, and we're leaning toward doing that. So give me your opinions on that. The only objection that we have right now is that we just don't want to take away from the towns. We don't want to take, we don't want to make a library and then make it void for the towns to have their own libraries, so to speak. But give me your guys' opinion on that one. We know a lot of you guys like to write books, and we kind of thought it'd be a cool idea to just make a library for the whole server where people could exchange books. So anyway,
I think the library too, like that'd be a pretty cool idea.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It'd give a lot more like diversity to spawn.
Yeah, it really would, and I think it would help tell the stories of the server, because there's like a lot of stories that people have that are like, some people keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
Some towns have their own town libraries, and it's just in the library there. And I think if we like made a place where the whole server could like share those stories, it might kind of add a little bit to the what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like the lore of the server.
Yeah, like so everyone shares like the server's history stories.
Yeah, and in fact with that too, people might be able to compose larger, more elaborate like server history, like where they're talking about like the history of the whole server.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've always wanted to actually write, like a history of the server. Given that I'm one of the few people, along with you as well, who's been with the server the whole time. But even I, having been here the whole time, there's so many things that have unfolded that I don't know about.
Oh yeah.
If we had this, I'd be able to tell more stories than I could otherwise. So
I'm still, even today, I'm hearing about stories that have happened in the server's history that I've never heard about, but were such big events. So
yeah. Well, cool. So anyway, that's what the new spawn's gonna be. Now, you're probably wondering what I said earlier. I said there's gonna be more than one new spawn. Okay. There's a reason for that. So we're gonna have another world. We actually got a plugin called Multiverse. This allows us to have multiple worlds. And the other world that we're gonna have now is going to be a mini-games world. That's right, we're starting up a mini-games world. We're going to be transferring the mini-games we already have, such as CTF, Deathmatch, even Coliseum. A lot of people don't even know that we have Coliseum, but we do.
What is Coliseum?
Coliseum's basically like a multi-team elimination type of PvP.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like a multi-team free-for-all.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's another mode that we have that's going to be transferred over there. But yeah, so all those ones are going to be transferred over to our mini-games world. But that's not all. So this world, we're going to be making a spawn for it. We've actually already started that one. The mini-games and all the world, the whole thing, is going to be released on the 12th with the main package where most of your content's going to be. Okay? This spawn looks amazing. I mean, let me tell you what, this spawn is top caliber. It looks, we've been searching all over the Minecraft servers. We looked at Hypixel, Mine Time, pretty much all the really big minigame servers. And let me tell you what, this spawn we've built is competitive with the best. I mean,
yes, it is up there.
It is up there. And so anyway, we're going to be adding that on the 12th. Now, there's also going to be a new mini game that we're going to be adding. This is going to be our premier mini game for the month of September. It's going to be Search and Destroy, okay? But not just Minecraft Search and Destroy. This is going to be Search and Destroy with guns. We actually got a gun plugin, and we fully tested this thing. It works excellent, and we've got an associated texture pack, and this makes the guns look like realistic guns. It shoots bullets, and it kills the other players. And so this is going to be like FPS style Search and Destroy. And in fact, we messed around with playing it just the other night. It plays really well. It functions real well. We built a really awesome map for this. It's like a almost like a Soviet style map in a Mega Tiaga. So very, very cool. It's going to be very fun, and we're going to be making more and more maps for that as we go, as well as some new maps for the other modes as well. And we're going to be improving on those modes, such as Capture the Flags, CTF, Deathmatch, all those ones. We're going to be improving those with new maps and new kits for them, and we're also going to be ironing out some of the little bugs. So,
wait, so for Capture the Flag, Deathmatch, and duels and stuff, will there be still the same maps that exist now, or will it be all new maps?
Some of the same ones that exist now, the higher quality ones, will carry over.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be new ones on top of that.
Sounds great.
Yep. So yeah, that's going to be the mini games world. And something else worth mentioning with the mini games world, okay? We're going to be adding a new mini game once a month. So please shoot us ideas. We want to know what you guys want for these mini games, okay? There's going to be just one new one each month. And each month we're going to strive to choose the best mini games possible. We're not looking to have like a huge slew of crappy mini games. We're looking to have a handful of awesome mini games, the best mini games out there. And also, don't be afraid to give us suggestions on how we can improve these mini games. We want to know ways to make them better. We want to make all of our mini games unique to Ionia. We don't want to copy other servers and have like the same exact flavor of mini games. And so we want your guys' ideas on how we can better improve these things. A lot of them are very customizable. So even if you don't know if the idea can be put into place, shoot it out at us. There's not a whole lot that we can't do anymore. We've got a pretty good team here. So even if you don't think we can do it, we might be able to. So
we can do almost anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, on top of that, there's a few things that I want to discuss. So some people might be wondering why we're getting mini games. The reason we're getting mini games is a few things. So first of all, a lot of people have told me that the server, it's great for building. People like building the towns. People like the events. But there's a lot of like quiet time where people, if they're not building, there's not a whole lot for them to do. And they've told me it'd be really nice if we had some stuff like mini games to burn the time. So it's kind of be there to to add some extra stuff, some extra content to kind of burn the time with and have fun with, right? So that's the first thing. The second reason is because there's a ton of demand for mini games. There's a ton of demand for mini games, and as soon as we have them, we're going to get a lot of new traffic to the server. Now, a lot of this traffic's going to be coming to the server just to play the mini games. They're not going to be here for towning. However, a portion of these people will cross over. They'll notice that we have a really awesome townie server, and they'll probably get curious and come try it out. And as soon as they realize how cool it is, they'll tell their other friends that are playing the mini games with them, and they'll bring their friends and so on and so forth. So it'll actually draw a lot of traffic to our main server. Okay? In fact, that's actually one of the bigger reasons. Like I said, mini games, there's just a ton more demand for mini games than there is for townie. And this is going to kind of be a way that we can pull more people to our server overall and get more people into townie.
It'll combine the both and make it overall more exciting for everyone.
Oh, yeah. And so that brings up kind of one of the objections that I had in the past and that some people have brought up to me is, are we gonna be one of those servers that like has everything? Like, are we gonna be one of those servers where you go in, they have mini games, townie, factions, prison, so on and so forth? The answer to that is no. We are going to keep our identity as a civilization building server. Okay, we're never gonna have factions or vanilla or prison or any of those other primary game modes. We're always going to be strictly a civilization building server that also happens to have mini games. That's how it's going to work, so you don't have to worry about us losing our identity or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to cover about mini games. Sparks, do you have anything else to comment on the mini games?
Not on the mini games, but going back to the new spawn, will there be like a new like top shop like the jeweler is now? Will there be one of those, or will everything now be equal?
Actually, there's going to be a variety of outdoor shops aside from the marketplace, except they're gonna like not have a designated spot like our current one does. Rather, they're gonna be mixed with the rest of the buildings in the spawn. And these specialized shops, there'll be stuff like the jeweler, there'll be probably like a blacksmith and some other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll all be rentable just like the jeweler, except you'll have like your own location separate from the marketplace itself. And of course, they'll be a bit more expensive, just like the jeweler's more expensive.
Yeah.
But they're, like I said, they're going to be more flush with the rest of the spawn rather than like having their own designated spot. So.
Alright, that's good.
Yeah, good question. Something else I think should be mentioned with the minigame server, and in fact this kind of leads to our next discussion as well, is that the minigames world is actually going to have its own separate ranks, completely separate ranks from the main world, okay? So when you go into the minigames world, there's going to be ranks associated with the minigames that you play. You're going to get like levels and XP each minigame, and as you get better and better at them and go further along, you'll be able to unlock certain ranks, and those ranks, they're really going to be more cosmetic than anything. They're not going to like do a whole lot in terms of improving your experience in the minigames world. But like I said, there will be separate ranks. The townie commands, the townie chat, all those things, they're not going to transfer over to the minigames world. So when you're in minigames, the chat there is going to be strictly minigames. You won't be able to see the normal chat channels. You won't be able to do the townie commands. It'll just be minigames in that world, and you'll be able to easily transfer back over to the townie world, where you'll have all your townie stuff, your townie rank, and all that. So,
for the minigames, will you say you reach the highest rank in minigames? Will that give you a benefit in Townie 2, or will it still be just strictly minigames?
Well, there will be a benefit in that, and we'll talk more about this in a minute, but there'll be new ranks, and some of the higher ranks will actually require, one of the prerequisites will be that you have to have reached like a top rank in the minigames world.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, so there will be some ranks that require both a high rank in the minigames world and in the townie world. So,
sounds more difficult.
Yes. So anyway, that does bring us to our next subject, which is the ranks overhaul. This is probably the next biggest change that we're going to be making here in the server. So we're going to be overhauling the rank system from the ground up. Now, don't get me wrong, the rank system's still going to be relatively similar to the one we have now. However, there's going to be a lot more ranks, there's going to be a lot more branches, and there's going to be higher ranks, and ultimately what we're going to be designing is a system that's more similar to like what you'd get from an RPG, where you kind of climb up the ladder and it takes a lot longer, it's harder, and you'll be challenged longer in your gameplay experience. As it is right now, most people can get to tier 5 within 1 or 2 months. It's a pretty quick grind overall, and once you get there, you make so much money that your money's practically useless. And so that's going to be one of the biggest things that we aim to fix with our economic changes is we're going to make the value of the dollar go up. We're going to make it so that there's things to do for the rich players. They're able to like buy more luxuries with their money, and we're going to make it so that getting rich takes longer and climbing up the ladder in the server is a more challenging, longer task than it currently is. I don't think 1 or 2 months is a adequate amount of time.
So will the ranks that we have now, will they be getting changes, or will they stay the same and you're just adding more on top?
And that's a very good question, Sparks. So here's how it's going to work, okay? Let's talk about that. So they'll now be, you know how we currently have the tier system, tier 1 through 5?
Yes.
Right? That is going to stay. There will be tiers for all the associated branches, and all the branches we have now will stay. They'll have new names, okay? We're going to be changing the names. However, let's say that right now you're a millionaire, or you're a visionary, or whatever you happen to be. You will be allowed to transfer to the equivalent tier of that branch. So let's say you're a tier 5 of the wealth branch, then you will transfer to the tier 5 of the new wealth branch. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yeah, it won't be the same exact rank, but you'll at least, you're not going to be like downgrading relative to everyone else. So
yeah. But it'll just be harder for new people who don't have the ranks yet.
Yes, it will be harder for them. Climbing from tier 1 to 5 will be harder, and there'll be more ranks. So let's get into that. So here's how it's going to work. There's going to be a lot of new branches. There's going to be branches for everything from mini games to even just like little things like voting to XP. We'll go more on that in a minute. There's now going to be levels for everything that you do. There'll be ranks associated with almost everything you can think of, okay? Lots of new branches, and each of the new branches is actually going to have a tier 6, which the tier 5 is going to be harder to get to as it is, but the tier 6 is going to be like super, super difficult to get to. So for example, for the wealth rank, I'm thinking about making tier 5, tier 6 is going to be to where you have to get like $5 million, okay? If that puts it in perspective just how hard it is going to be to get to tier 6, it's going to be a pretty prestigious thing. But that's not where it ends, okay? After tier 6, there's going to be tier 7 ranks, and these tier 7 ranks, they're no longer going to be associated with any specific branch, but rather they're going to be combinations of branches. So let's say you reach tier 5 of the wealth rank, the mayor rank, and the PvP rank. This is just a hypothetical example. There might be a tier 7 rank for accomplishing that, except the tier 7 rank will also have an additional level requirement on top of what's required for all of the tier 6 ranks. So they're going to be super, super hard. They're going to take a really long time to achieve, but they're going to also be very, very prestigious once you get there.
So right now, before the update, if you've unlocked like 3 of the top ranks, 3 categories, will all those transfer, or will you just get like the one you currently are using to transfer?
That's a good question. So you'll only get the one that you're currently using to transfer. However, your accomplishments in the server will still be there, of course. You're not going to be starting from scratch in terms of your accomplishments. So a lot of those things, a lot of them will still be applied to the new system.
Okay.
Yeah. So really, you may not have unlocked all of them right from the get-go, like all the ones that you had unlocked previously, but like in a lot of ways you'll at least be really close.
Yeah. That's good.
Something else worth mentioning, for the builder ranks, there's now going to be such a thing as a mega structure. So right now we've got significant structures, okay? But we all know that not all significant structures are created equal. There's some of them that, like, they look good and they're good size and they definitely meet the criteria for a significant structure. But then there's some of them that are just outright huge and amazing. So we're now going to make a step up from the significant structure, which is going to be called a mega structure. We don't have the specific criteria for the mega structure just yet, but basically what it's going to be is an extremely large, it's probably going to have to take up like a minimum 16 plots. but it's going to be an extremely large, extremely elaborate build. It's going to have to look very, very, very good. It's not going to be for everyone. In fact, I'm just going to say this right now, most builders are not going to be capable of producing what we're going to call a mega structure. Okay, but the really good builders, the top ones in the server, they will. There's already a few things in the server that I would label a mega structure. An example of one would probably be like the stadium in Plutus. Okay, that would be a good example of a mega structure. Same goes with like the stadium in Kadoma. That would be a mega structure.
What if the structure was just very tall, but maybe only took up 6 or 8 plots, but was very tall, very detailed, and an amazing build?
Yeah, I assume you're probably talking about like the clock tower in Pacific, or I mean in Coastborn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that would probably we're gonna try to design the criteria so that something like that would still meet it, because not all extremely good builds are necessarily huge. Okay. But they do have to be big to some extent. We're not going to like call like a one plot building a mega structure, right?
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think the clock tower in Coastborn probably should meet the mega structure criteria. It's definitely one of the best builds in the server. So
that's good.
So anyway, that will be added to the rank system as well. Now, finally moving up here. We won't just be ending at the tier 7 ranks. I know you're probably thinking, wow, we've gone quite a ways up here already, right? Like the tier 7 is going to be super hard. But I want our new rank system to be endless. I want it to be as hard as it gets to reach that final rank. I want it to always challenge you guys. And so there's going to be a tier 8 rank on top of that, which is going to be the rank that you earn when you have unlocked all there'll probably be like 4 or 5 of the tier 7 ranks. Once you've unlocked all the tier 7 ranks, by doing that you'll have unlocked the top rank, which will be tier 8, and that's pretty much going to be as high as it goes as far as criteria goes. Now there'll be one final tier 9 rank. However, the tier 9 rank, it will be achieved just by unlocking tier 8 and by having the highest total level in the server. So basically there's no unique criteria to tier 9. It's just the tier 8 rank who has the highest XP overall. Okay, so the way that'll work is at the beginning of every month on the 1st, we're going to do a check to see which tier 8 has the highest overall XP. And again, this is not the XP that you're used to. This isn't like the stuff you get from grinding mobs. This is an XP that's going to be associated with something else that we're going to talk about in a minute. But basically, whoever has unlocked tier 8 and has the highest XP overall in the server at the 1st of each month will unlock the one and only tier 9 rank for that month. So that, again, only one person can have this rank, and that person will essentially be like, the top player of the server. Okay? So
will there be more money given with the higher ranks, or will we just move down the money you get? So for example, a tier 5 rank right now, you get $720. Will that be moved down, or will it just keep climbing off that?
It's actually 960. But yeah, the way it's going to work is we are going to make them a little bit less stratified. Okay, so what I mean by that is there's not going to be quite as far a separation from tier 0 to tier 5 as there is right now. They're going to be crunched a little bit more. Mm-hmm. However, they still are going to go up quite a bit. So instead of 960, it might be something a little less ridiculous, like maybe like 600 an hour. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, as you go higher up the ladder, it will continue going up. So the tier 9, yeah, they're going to make a lot of money per hour. Okay.
Yes.
Because at that point, they've really fucking earned it. Like I'm just going to say this right now. If you want to get that tier 9 rank, it's going to take a while. You're talking, I'm going to design this thing to take like at least a year minimum. That's like playing every day, all day, 1 year to get this shit. So So anyway, by the time you get to that level, yes, you'll have earned that money. But something else, and this is going to be one of the big economic changes that we're making here, is that you're no longer going to just be able to AFK to get all that money. Okay? So here's the next big announcement. There's now going to be a 5-hour limit to Time Gives You Money. So basically every day, once you've played for 5 hours, okay, if you've played for 5 hours, then Time Gives You Money will no longer give you money just for playing on the server for the rest of that day. You'll have to find other means of making money. So from that point, you're going to have to get creative. You'll have to either, chop wood, sell things to other players, work for other players, start up a shop, start up some kind of unique business. Doesn't really matter what it is. It could be like a casino, resort. You could rent out houses to players. There's going to be some other new ways of making money as well. So anyway, you're going to have to get creative after that 5-hour point if you want to compete in the market. The market's no longer going to be just this place where whoever AFKs the most has the most money. So what are your thoughts on that, Sparks?
I'm actually really excited for that because that is something that a lot of people now are doing, just AFKing to try and get more money, and it's taking away from the actual grind to get a lot of money. Like, I've experienced it firsthand. I'm almost at $3.5 million in cash, and I've grinded every little bit of it. I have, gotten a few lucky chances where someone has given me a bit of money, but other than that, I've just grinded.
Yeah, that's really kind of what it's turned into for a lot of people, is who can AFK the most, and that's not what our economy was designed to do. Our economy is designed to where you have a certain amount of money that you make by ranking up, and that's what Time Gives You Money is giving you, and if you want more money beyond that, you have to get creative. But with our current system, that only works for the lower ranks. The higher ranks don't really have any reason to participate in economy. There's no reason to own a shop if you're tier 5, because you make so much money just by being on that anything you get from the shop is almost meaningless unless you have a really, really good shop. If you own the jeweler, yeah, you'll make a lot more from the jeweler than from AFKing, but other than that, none of it's really meaningful. So that's one of the biggest things that this change is going to fix, is AFKing for money is just not going to work anymore, at least to the extent that it works right now. So
yeah, it's gonna basically just come irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. We're no longer going to see, millionaires who are millionaires because they've AFK'd a long time. So cool. So anyway, so that pretty much sums it up for the ranks overhaul. Do you have any last things to add on that, Sparks?
Nope, nothing. Just that I'm excited.
Sweet. Well, here, let's go ahead and move on now. But first, let's go ahead and take a moment to help out our sponsors here. We'll be right back after a few brief messages.
Adios.
Balls! Head on down to Germanic and fling your balls here. We have snowball fights daily, starting at just $10 per match. Yeah, that's right. Germanic's got balls.
I've got big balls. I've got big balls. They're such big balls, and they're fancy big balls. And he's got big balls, and she's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all.
All right, we're back, folks, and we got a visitor here at the studio. Just wanted to say hi. Welcome, Soccer Ace. He's one of the newer players to the server, so give him a nice, fairly good greeting here.
Round of applause.
Looks like he was just curious of the spawn and walking around. So, all right. Anyway, Sparks, let's go ahead and get back to it here.
All right.
Oh, oops. Okay.
All right, take a seat. My cup of Joe.
On here. All right, so go ahead and sit down there, Sparks.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, we're back on here now. Now we're going to talk about plugins. How many plugins are we adding, Sparks?
I don't know, but I heard we're adding 11 new plugins.
11 new plugins. That's right. Now, technically, one of them's not a plugin. However, it is doing. We're going to be setting up a system to basically do what a plugin would normally do. And there could, in the final product, there might actually end up being more than that. That's just what we got so far. Most of them have been tested. We're still testing some of them, though. And anyway, these plugins, let me make it clear, a lot of these are things that were suggested over the last 6 months in the suggestions section of the forum. These were not all just my ideas or ideas that the staff came up with. These are ideas that the player base came up with, and we just kind of searched through all of them and plucked out the best of them, and we're going to implement those into the server now. So the first big one, this one people have been asking for and waiting for so long, but it needed to be updated. It's finally been updated. It works great. We tested it. This is a really awesome plugin. It's the Gods plugin.
What? Gods?
Yep. Gods. So with this plugin, you're going to be able to make your own religions. Like, you're going to be able to make your own gods. You're going to be able to have functional churches. You can interact with these gods with commands. Like, the gods will talk to you so often. Sometimes the gods will request you to go do things. You'll actually have quests given to you by these gods. And we have the ability to make more quests. These are like gods-related quests. We can actually make them and add them into the server. But as it stands right now, there's already quite a bit of them. They might ask you to go kill a certain player who's worked against your religion. They might ask you to sacrifice items or animals to the gods. They might ask you to do all kinds of different things. And if you please the gods, if you pray to them often, if you do things often, they'll give you little rewards for that. They might give you food, items. They might give you abilities, such as like speed or strength. Of course, these are temporary. They don't last all that long. You can also pray to them and request them to help you with things. Now, let me make it clear, none of these like buffs associated with the Gods plugin are really OP. They're all pretty basic, pretty simple, so you don't have to worry about it like ruining the game. And yeah, I mean, overall, we've tested this quite a bit, and it is just a really high-quality plugin. And one of the things you can expect with it is that we're going to start seeing very large, well-built, elaborate churches in a lot of the towns, because now towns will be able to have like town religions, and they'll have a reason to build these awesome churches. They're not just going to be empty shells anymore. So,
To expand on that, could a player be a god themselves? Like, could they make themselves a god?
yes and no. So you could make a god that's named after you, yes, and other people could worship that god, and you could become a religion, so to speak, but you could not like act as that god. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you can become a priest, and in becoming a priest, it's kind of similar. In being a priest, you kind of act as an intermediary between that god and the followers of that god.
Yeah.
So, good question there. Sparks, do you have any other questions regarding the Gods plugin?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay, cool. Well, let's move on here. So, the next plugin is going to be the Quests plugin. We've talked about this before. The Quest plugin is a great plugin that allows us to make RPG-style quests. We tried it in the past, and it didn't work because it was a bit outdated. It had some bugs that needed to be fixed, and there wasn't any good tutorials. Well, I made some suggestions to the developer of it, and also some suggestions to a guy who makes really good tutorials. And I didn't think they'd follow through, but I was wrong. They actually took my suggestions, and they made a really nice tutorial. It's got a lot of great information, and they fixed all the bugs. So we're going to be bringing the Quest plugin back. This Quest plugin, we're going to go really far with it. It is a very, very in-depth plugin that allows us to make long quest chains that have different like quest point requirements. It allows us to make like treasure hunts. We can make almost anything you can imagine when it comes to like RPG style quests. We're going to make storyline quests. We're going to make simple quests. It's going to have almost everything that you would expect from any old MMORPG. We're going to be adding that to the servers. So
these quests, will every player get the same quest and they can all do it, or will it be like a quest gets completed by only one player, so you missed out on that one?
Some of them will be ones where, like, as soon as someone's completed it, it's done. And then there'll be other ones, most of them, I'd say 90% of our quests are going to be ones where, like, you complete it, but other people can complete it too.
Okay, yes.
Yep, good question.
So if you
there.
finish it, you could help someone else out.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it's really going to be, like I said, very, very, very similar to what you'd expect from most like games like World of Warcraft or RuneScape or
Yeah, that's
stuff
what
like
I had
that.
in mind.
So cool. So yeah, moving on here. This is probably going to be this is the big one we talked about related to ranks. A lot of people probably aren't expecting this. We're going to be adding MCMMO. That's right. We're going to be adding
MCMMO.
Yes. Yes, but let me make it clear. So the biggest objection people gave to having MCMMO, a lot of people have wanted it, but a lot of people have also objected to it. The biggest objection, the one I've had myself, is that it comes with a lot of overpowered buffs and perks, such as like double drops, triple drops, quadruple drops, like
A lot of drops.
yes, a lot of drops that ruin the economy, and it
They're
also comes
super
with a
great.
lot of overpowered PvP buffs and just a lot of stupid shit, right? We're disabling all of that, so there's not going to be any abilities associated with MCMMO. There's not going to be any drops or anything like that. All that we're going to have associated with MCMMO is the levels, and we've designed the levels to take a long time to get. Getting to level 1000 of any chain, it's going to take a long-ass time. Okay, so the point of this is to add to the criteria of the ranks. So every single rank that we have is going to have an associated MCMMO level, both for specific levels and for your total power level. Okay? And anyway, so that's where the death's going to come from. So you'll now be able to like level up your character. There's also going to be levels associated with the mini games because MCMMO is cross-compatible with most of our mini games, and there's going to be levels associated with the quests and really with a lot of the things that we do in general, such as PvP. So this is really going to add kind of a social status element to the game, in that people will be able to like brag about like what level they have and that sort of thing. And players will actually be able to search other players and see what other players' levels are, so they can kind of compete in that regard.
Yeah,
so again,
go for the top.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be adding MCMMO, but again, it's not going to like do anything to ruin the PvP or the economy or anything like that. It's just going to be adding those cool levels that we all want, and there will be rewards for achieving high levels in MCMMO. It's not going to be totally pointless.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think people really like it. Another cool plugin we're going to be adding, this one I can't say the name of, but this is a really awesome anti-cheat plugin. This one aims specifically at PvP hacks. So right now, we've already got one that detects almost all economic related hacks, such as X-ray, fast dig, that type of thing. So all the things that could ruin the economy. Our server by itself is pretty much DDoS proof. As you guys have noticed, we haven't been DDoS since we upgraded to the dedicated server. A lot of people have tried. It actually shows me when people have tried. It's kind of funny, but it doesn't work anymore. So once we get the anti-PvP hack plugin, we're pretty much going to be immune to hacks. Now let me make it clear. You're probably thinking, yeah, well, these plugins don't block everything. The plugin we're getting, it comes pretty damn close. This is a paid plugin. You have to buy it. It's pretty expensive, and this thing, it blocks almost all PvP hacks out there. The owner of this thing updates it on almost a daily basis. I'm not even exaggerating. He updates it almost daily, and he constantly searches the web for hack clients that will get past his plugin, and whenever he finds one, he fixes it immediately. So this thing, of course, no plugin is foolproof. There's always going to be some hacks that can get around it, but about 99% of all PvP hacks will be blocked and detected by this plugin. So it's very, very good.
Yeah, this is a good thing, because in the past we've had town tournament battles where people have used PvP hacks and gotten to the top, even won the town PvP using hacks that no one's noticed.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's something that we don't want to have. As the server grows more and more, there's going to be more and more towns competing in the town tournament. And it's just a matter of time before, there's going to be more and more hackers that try to win the town tournament by hacking. So this kind of plugin will help ensure that our tournaments keep their integrity. So anyway, moving down the list here, the next one will be our mini games. Of course, we've already discussed that, but the specific plugin we're using for S&D is going to be a plugin called Crackshot. Again, this is a guns plugin that adds a lot of new guns. Let me make it clear, these guns won't be added to the towny portion. None of that's. We're going to stick to traditional Minecraft for our civilization building server. However, in the mini game server, there will be guns, and you can expect to see more mini games later on with guns-like features. For example, we're going to be making like a cops and robbers one, where it's almost like a bank heist, and just various heist-related mini games. Those are going to be coming in the future, not with this initial update, but later on. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, is it harder to shoot a gun than it would be like to shoot a bow?
No, it's much easier. However, they do have some realistic elements to it. For example, there's recoil with the guns that actually kind of like pushes your character back, and the guns aren't like perfectly accurate. There's like some degree by which the bullets spread to make it a little bit more realistic. So, and you have to reload and all this, so they're not just like cheap little shit guns. They're actually very realistic.
That's
and
awesome.
I think you'll find that when you play Minecraft with these guns, it really feels like a first-person shooter. It's not quite as in-depth as a first-person shooter. Of course, we're not claiming to be, the next, the next Black Ops or whatever. But it comes pretty close. I think you'll find that it's just as much fun, if not more fun. So.
It is just as much fun. I've tried it in the past.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, aside from that, there's a few more plugins we'll be adding. We're going to be adding a blackjack plugin that allows you to like gamble with your money playing blackjack. That's going to add to the casinos and make them a little bit more detailed.
There we go. More things to spend money on.
Yep. And we're also going to be updating the casino slots plugin to make it a little bit more fun for the players, and at the same time slightly more profitable for the owners. So we're going to be tweaking that a little bit as well. Moving down the list here, the next plugin we're going to be adding is the bells plugin. This is one that Kylan suggested a while back. It allows towns to have their own town bells. They'll be able to purchase that with game money, and it's pretty cool because it makes it so that when you're in that town, within a radius of that town, you can actually hear the bells go off every so often. So
that's cool.
Yep.
So are they like large bells? Are they small? Do they vary in sizes?
They vary in size. It's actually done with a command block. So really you build the town bell, and then that command block essentially produces the bell. And there's a plugin associated with it, as well as a texture pack associated with it. The command block, the texture pack, and the plugin kind of all work in sync with one another. So
there we go.
Yep. So yeah, we'll be adding that. And then another big plugin, in fact, this is one of the most popular ones. Hold on, let me clear the weather so it's not in the sound here. This is one of the most popular suggestions that we've gotten so far, is the craft book plugin. This plugin, at the time that we received the suggestion, it needed to be updated, but it has since then been updated, and this plugin is really awesome in that it adds on to the things that you can do with Redstone to a very large extent. So it allows you to have a whole variety of new working mechanisms, such as elevators that you can go up in buildings that aren't as complicated as some of the Redstone elevators that already exist, and they're not quite as massive in size either. It allows you to have moving bridges, like working bridges that like draw up, right?
So you're saying you can have an actual drawbridge now?
From what I
With
understand,
plug-in.
yes. Like it allows you to have like moving bridges.
That's neat.
Yes, very, very cool. It allows you to have like hidden switches, more advanced light systems inside of buildings. It allows you to have like mechanically functioning doors. There's like a whole list of it. We're gonna include a link to this plugin on the official announcement, so you guys can look further into it. But let me tell you what, this plugin really adds to the redstone mechanisms of the game, and I think everyone's going to really love it because it's going to allow towns to build a lot of new things that they could have never built otherwise. So
There we go.
and then the last plugin on the list here, let me make it clear, this one we still have to test. I'm not 100% sure that we're going to add it, but I'm going to try to make it happen. This is a stock market plugin, okay? This plugin allows players to buy and exchange stocks. These are imaginary stocks that fluctuate just like real life stocks in a way that's kind of random and unpredictable. However, what's cool about it is it cannot cause inflation because there's actually a configurable meter that allows me to control whether the stocks generally go in like an uphill trend, downhill trend, or a neutral trend. And you can then set like the fluctuation rate around that trend. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make them relatively volatile. However, the average will remain around a single set point that's neutral, so that the stock market plugin can't actually inflate the economy. There will be an equal amount of loss as gain.
So it's very luck based.
It will be very luck-based. However, what's cool about it is it does give these like random hints and shit that people can speculate around. So it won't be entirely luck, but yeah, it will be largely luck-based. Let's be real though. The real life stock market, as much as people like to think otherwise, it's also,
Yes, it is.
to a certain degree, luck-based. Okay, some of it's skill, yes. Some of it is skill. There is, people can analyze companies' success, but there is a large element of luck to it as well. So, but yeah, that will give people more things to do with their money, and just kind of be kind of another cool little addition to the server. So, anyway, so that's pretty much it for the plugins that we'll be adding to the server. Do you have anything to add on to that, Sparks?
Nope, nothing.
Cool. Yeah, I think we've pretty much gone over it all here.
I
So,
pretty much said everything.
yep. So here, let's go ahead and take a brief moment for our sponsors here. So we'll be right back after a few brief messages. We'll see you guys in a minute.
See ya.
T.O. Bay's here with another fantastic product. See this? This might look like lava to you. Oh no, this is not regular lava. This is Lava Vex. Yes, Lava Vex, made by real Americans. This lava is better than that cheap shit lava you get from those Chinese bastards. That's right. Watch this. This lava can be used to clean up any mess. Let me demonstrate. See that? That's right, the stain is gone. You can use this lava to clean up anything. You can clean up stains, take items off your floor, remove your floor, light your house on fire. Heck, you can remove your house. You can remove Squidly. Got a neighbor you don't want anymore? This lava will take care of your problem. That's right, and this lava is going to be all yours for just 5 easy payments of $19.95. That's right, 5 easy payments of $19.95, and this lava is all yours. Now, that's not all, folks. If you call today, you got to call right now. If you call right now, I will include this second bucket of water. Watch what this water is going to do. This is good water right here. Bam! All the lava leftovers are gone. Completely gone. Not only have you removed your neighbor, you've removed the mess, you've removed your floor, heck, you might have even removed your house. But now you've even removed the lava leftovers. This can be yours for an extra 5 extra easy payments of $19.95. So that's right, just 2 easy payments of $19.95 per month for 5 months, and these buckets will be yours. And that's not all, folks. If you call right now, I'll even include this third bucket free. That's right, 3 buckets, all yours, for just 5 easy payments, 2 times, of just $19.95. Alright guys, we're back on air here. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video at this point. We've got a few last changes to announce. We've kind of gone over most of the big ones here, but just a few last things. So we've talked about 2 of our 6 economy changes. The biggest one is going to be the new rank system. We already went over that. And also the time gives you money daily limit. We already discussed that. So the final changes here is that upkeep is going to be based on total plots rather than total players. The reason for that is because our server, we aim to have big towns with high populations and lots of people. We've always wanted to have a server where there's both small towns, medium towns, and large elaborate cities. But something we've realized we've done lately, which has been kind of flawed, is that we've been kind of punishing towns for being too big. And we don't want to do that. We want towns to be large and with lots of people. So for now on, it's going to be based on total plots. However, upkeep overall is actually going to be lowered quite a bit. So not too much, don't get me wrong, but just enough so that, you know, players can have big, large towns with high populations and not necessarily be punished for that with high upkeep. So even the big towns, though, like Kadoma, that have a ton of plots, they're still not going to be paying super big upkeep. It's just going to be probably about the same that they're already paying. It's just going to be based on plots, though, rather than on players. So that's going to be one of the changes. Another one of the changes is that players are now going to have a wide variety of sort of luxuries that they can get for being rich. So we don't know exactly what those are going to be just yet, but there's going to be a lot of new game features that people can buy with large sums of money. So an example of that we already have would be like spawners. People can buy spawners for like $200,000. It's a high price for spawners, but that is one of the luxuries people can get. Another example is private property. So we're going to be adding on to that. There's going to be a lot of new stuff that people can get with their money. One of the things will be the town bells. But like I said, we're going to be really expanding on that. Another one of the new things is going to be that players can pay money to get town ads. So you know how we have commercials right now? You just saw one of them earlier. You'll be able to get ones that are serious. You know, most of our ones right now are really just for humor. But you'll be able to get serious advertisements and pay for them to be in our videos for a certain time period, and there'll be like a whole variety of different options for that, and players will be able to use that to advertise various things, such as like if they start up a mall, they'll be able to advertise their mall through our videos. If they start up a town, they'll be able to advertise their town. There'll be all kinds of shit. If they, let's say that someone specializes in selling a certain product, like I know there's a guy, Leo Acosta, specializes in selling tools. All those different things you'll be able to advertise from the YouTube videos. So anyway, moving on here, the last major change to the economy is that there'll be tax brackets. However, these brackets are really just to make it more challenging to move up the wealth ranks. Most people will not be affected by these taxes. The new brackets will apply for people who have over $1 million in their bank, as well as for people who have over $3 million in their bank. Okay, so basically they'll just go up a little bit each increment. So
it's not going to be like the normal was it 0.10 of a percent. It's going to be more.
For most people, it will be like the. It's actually not a 1/10 of a percent. I believe it's actually, yeah, it's a 1/10 of a percent for most people. But anyway, yeah, most people are going to stay at 1/10 of a percent. But people making or who have over $1 million in their bank, for them it'll be like 1/5 of a percent. And then for people with, like, over 3 million, people like you, it'll be about 1/3 of a percent.
Okay, so it's just increasing and increasing the higher you go.
Yeah, the more money that's in your bank, the higher the percent you'll be paying. But like I said, most people won't be affected by that, and it's just designed to make the challenge that much more to hit that $5 million spot. So anyway, those are the economic changes. And again, the point of our economy changes was to increase the value of the dollar and to reduce inflation. And I think between fixing up the issues that we have with the spawn and people not keeping up with their shops, and then reducing the mass amounts of money people are getting through AFKing, and then also by just reducing the overall money people can get by only playing and not participating in the market, I think we're going to really do that. And then by adding on to the things that people can buy with their money as well. So anyway, moving on here, there's a few small, or not really small, but a few significant changes we're going to be making to the town tournament. The first, both of these are designed to balance it out. So let's go over that for a bit. We've realized that there's kind of a big flaw in our new tournament system, which is that although we designed it for there to be an equal advantage for big towns as opposed to small towns, really right now the small towns have the big advantage. If you've got a small, powerful town with like 5 people, you're going to have a big advantage over everyone else, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to now make it so that the bigger towns once again have a slight advantage. It used to be that the big towns always won, and it was not volatile enough, so we changed it to make it more volatile. We wanted smaller towns to have a shot. But we're going to change it. We want the bigger towns, because the bigger, more advanced towns should have an advantage in the tournament. They should win more often than the smaller ones do, because they are better for the server. They're inviting more people, they're engaging more people, they're making the server more fun for more players. And let's face it, the bigger towns also look nicer. Okay, they've got more things to offer. So we are going to make it so that the bigger towns now have a more even advantage with the smaller ones. So don't get me wrong, small towns will still be able to compete as they currently do, and they'll still have their own set of advantages, especially in economy. They're just not going to be so ridiculously drastic. Yeah, it's not going to be as drastic of an advantage as it is right now. So here's how it's going to work. Right now, as it is, we currently score culture, economy, and military. There's now going to be a 4th criteria added to the group, which is going to be size. However, to stop it from being overpowered, only the top 3 in size will be scored. Okay? So currently, if you get first place in culture, because the top 5 in culture are scored, you'll get 5 tourney points for that first place. Well, if you win in size, you're only going to get 3 tourney points. Okay?
Oh, so it's less.
Yeah, so it's not quite as significant as winning in culture, economy, and military, but it does help you out, and it makes it so that being a big town is still meaningful. Okay? Yeah. So that's the first change. Now, the way size will be scored is the product, or the multiple of your population times your total amount of plots is what's going to give you your size score. So the more people you have and the more plots you have, the bigger your size score is going to be. Okay? So size will once again become a factor. However, it won't be a big enough factor to stop the tournament from being volatile. Size won't be the only factor. If you remember our old model, size crossed over into both culture and economy. And so size was probably the single biggest factor in the old town tournament model. It's not going to be the biggest factor in this one, but it is going to be a factor. We kind of went from 2 extremes, where in the old one size was the primary one, and in the new one size didn't exist. Well, now size does exist, but it's not the biggest factor. Okay? So anyway, moving on to the second change here. The second change is just that instead of only having to have 5 players, towns will now need 10 players in order to score an economy. The reason for that is because economy is supposed to measure just how wealthy most citizens are in a town and how good that town is at producing a sub-economy. Well, I'm sorry, but if you only have 5 players in your town, you don't really have a sub economy. You've just got 5 people who happen to get rich with each other. Okay? But if you've got more than 10 people in your town, and most of those 10 are pretty wealthy, then you've probably got a good little sub economy going on. It's not just like a couple individuals, okay? So,
yes, even with 10, it can still be influenced with a very rich player, but it won't be as much. It'll be basically taken half of their wealth as it would be with 5.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you still could just have a small group of rich people, but you're not going to have like an absurdly high score from that like you would in the past. So
yeah, it will be a lot more balanced out.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing too, I just want to say, some people might disagree with me on this. It might hurt some people's feelings with this, but if your town only has 5 people in it, you're not a town. You're a group. You're a clique. A town, in my opinion, starts once you've got I'd say about 7 or 8 players or more, because then you're no longer just like a tiny little group. At that point, you're starting to resemble more of like an actual, like a town, so to speak. So
yeah.
Anyway, moving on here. That's pretty much it for the tourney changes. The tourney's not going to be changed that much overall. Those are the 2 changes, and really, I think those 2 changes will accomplish our goal here. So. Mm-hmm. Finally, the last changes we're going to make is we're going to add some new donator perks. People will be able to purchase NPCs, so this will be like various mobs, players, so on and so forth. They'll be able to donate to get those things. It's going to be very cool. We're going to be adding like a pets plugin that allows more functionality for the pets that you buy, and you'll be able to purchase more of those functions with donations, so it'll be pretty cool there. And with these NPCs, something cool about them is towns will be able to program these NPCs to do a lot more than just stand around. You'll be able to program these NPCs to talk to players. You'll be able to program them to walk around places. You'll be able to make, one of the really cool things you'll be able to make is functional restaurants, because we can actually make paths for these NPCs to walk around. So if you have a restaurant, you could make it so that a villager walks around your restaurant, and that villager has food that he carries, and as soon as he walks to your table, you get the food from the villager.
Wow, so you could just have an actual waitress.
Yeah, like you could walk into a restaurant, and an NPC villager is sitting there behind the thing, just like a host, and then you go and you sit down, and as soon as you sit down, there's like a waiter that's walking around, and eventually he comes to your table, and you click on that villager, and he gives you, like you exchange something. It might be wheat or something real cheap, and you exchange something with that villager, and he gives you food.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I think
make some good money off that.
Oh yeah, and there's going to be a lot of other things as well. You can actually ride these NPCs, so you'll be able to buy like a Ender Dragon that you can actually ride.
Really?
Yeah.
So, for pets, would you be able to draw an Ender Dragon pet that follows you around?
Yep. You'll be able to get like a little pet that follows you around, and there's going to be a lot of new things that you can do with your pets as well, because we're actually getting a plugin for that. So, yeah, like very cool there.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun there.
Oh yeah. That's probably going to be our premier donator perk, and that one's actually, we're going to make a big sale for that when it first comes out. So,
get your credit cards ready.
Yep. So another one's going to be our creative world. Okay. Now, you know how we have multiverse? There's going to be basically you'll be able to donate to have access to a world. It's going to be a copy of Ionia, where you'll have access to creative. Now, don't get me wrong, you won't be able to spawn items in this world and carry it over to the main world. The creative world is going to be completely separate from our normal one, and the point of this creative world is not going to be like a standalone world that people play inside of. It's not going to be like that at all. What it's going to be is a world where you can go and build your builds. You can plan your builds in advance for the real thing. As it stands right now, a lot of our builders, before they do a big project, they'll build that build in creative to see what it looks like, and then they'll come back to the single player world and make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, in order to go into their creative world, they have to like exit out of the server, and then they have to go into single player and go into creative, and it takes longer, and then they're in a super flat world which doesn't look like their town, and so they don't even know how it looks relative to their environment. With the creative world, it's going to be a copy of our normal world that gets updated on a monthly basis, and so they'll be able to go to their town in this world, build their build in their town, see how it looks, and then they'll be able to transfer back with a simple command. They won't have to log out or anything. They won't have to do none of that. It'll be a simple command that they do. They go to the creative world, build their shit, and then they come back.
So it makes it a lot more convenient for them to just go back and forth to recreate their build they're trying to build.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So it's more convenient, and they'll be able to see what it looks like in their town rather than doing it in a super flat world. So
There. That sounds very cool.
Yep, I think it'll be good. Finally, there'll be in-depth commercials that we'll make. Like, you'll be able to donate to have a video made for your cause, and we'll promote that video in the server. So let's say that you're running a town. We'll actually make a full-on commercial video where it's just a standalone video for your town, and we'll promote the shit out of it. So you'll be able to attract a lot of players that way, or even if it's something else, it could be like a mall, it could be whatever, and we'll work with you one-on-one to make that video as cool as possible. So, be kind of a cool little perk there.
Yeah, that's some good advertising for towns. Can probably get a lot of people to come through that.
Oh yeah. Hold on just a sec. Oh, never mind. Anyway, so then we're going to make custom minigames maps. Let's say that for any of our minigames, there's a map that you want implemented. Let's say that like you play a certain first-person shooter, and there's a map in that world that you really want to get, okay? You'll be able to donate, and we'll build that map for you to the best extent possible. We'll have our build team do it, and we will just go to town to make it as good as it possibly gets, okay? Let's say you have a cool idea, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's within reason and nothing too ridiculous, then we'll make it. So that'll be something you'll be able to donate for.
Yeah, that sounds lots of fun. I may have missed this, but is that for one of our new mini games?
For all of them. It doesn't really matter what
okay.
mini game it is. If you've got a cool idea that you want implemented, you'll be able to donate to make that idea happen.
Cool.
Yep.
I'd love to see like a lot of like players wanting their own maps being in there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and everyone has lots of ideas, but of course we can't implement all of them. But if you've got one that you really, really want, if you donate, we'll make it happen. So,
yep.
So moving on here, you'll also be able to donate to make custom server events happen. So as it is, you can donate to get a drop party. But let's say you have an idea that you've always wanted, and we've just, we've never been able to do it for whatever reason. Okay. You can suggest it as it is, and we may or may not do it. If it's a good idea and we like it, we'll do it. But for now on, you'll be able to donate, and it's guaranteed to happen, so long as it's nothing too ridiculous, okay? We're not going to do a server-wide hide-and-seek of it, because that would take 10 hours and be stupid, right? But as long as it's like a good, reasonable event, if you donate, we're going to make it happen, okay? So you'll be able to donate to make custom events happen, and really we're just going to keep on expanding with that type of thing. So
maybe an example would be something like, they want to donate for like a Heroes PvP fight, where like with the new MCMMO plugin, we find all the people with the top PvP levels, and they all fight each other. Would that be one that you would do?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why that couldn't be done. So, like I said, we're going to define the criteria of what's realistic and what's not. But pretty much, just use common sense. As long as it's not, anything like totally inappropriate or something that's just like outright dumb. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's not that, then yes, we'll be willing to do it. And then lastly, we're going to be adding new milestones for donations. So as it is, if you donate up to $50, doesn't matter what you buy with it, as long as you donate up to $50, we'll build a statue for you of your choice, and we'll put it in a location of your choice. Of course, you don't have access to the materials of the statue, but we'll build one for you. That's the $50 milestone, but we're going to be making milestones for $100, $250, and for even $500 for those who maybe over a long period of time are willing to donate that much to the server. So
It's cool.
Yep.
I'm sure some people will be excited for those.
Oh yeah, I think especially those who have already donated that much, it'll apply to them as well, and I think it'll just kind of add on to reasons to help support the server as much as possible. And while we're on the subject, let me make it clear, guys, what we do with those donations. Okay, we use those donations to pay for the server. That's the first thing. So our server, it does cost a good chunk of money, and sometimes that money comes out of my pocket, which I don't really mind, but it's nice to be able to pay for it, with donations. I put a lot of work into this, and aside from that, the biggest thing that we do with those donations is we put them into paid advertisements, and those paid advertisements actually bring a lot of players to the server. We were doing these paid advertisements in June and early July, and really we weren't doing much in terms of non-paid advertisements, and in June, we were at our peak. That's when we had 51 players online. The reason we were able to get 51 players online was because we did some paid advertisements on Facebook. There was also our other record that we had before 51 was 47. We did that on a server event where we promoted a YouTube video. That paid advertisement got us 1,200 views on that video, and on that day we ended up having over 47 players online. So these advertisements really work. They bring a lot of players to the server. And as we get better and better at advertising, they'll only become more and more effective. So that's where most of that donation money goes to. And when you do that, you're really helping us out. So you're helping the whole server grow. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the big update. Other than that, we're just going to be making a lot of little tweaks and fixes. One of the suggestions Gosu gave me the other day is we're going to be making it so that everyone can do the Baltop command, so people can see like who has the most money. Kind of a cool command there.
That's cool, yeah. So then, one thing is, I do know you have you have the most money. You have like a sum of like 6 million or something. Will you be taking out your money?
Yeah, I'll do that. That way, people. So you guys know, the only reason Tio has so much money, I don't even play the game. I'm not a player. At least not on my Tio account. But the reason the Tio character has so much money is just because I have to pay the staff frequently, and I give people prizes at the events and stuff, and I'm just lazy. I just gave myself a bunch of money so I don't have to constantly add more to my account. But yeah, I'll lower mine, that way I'm not like at the top of the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, and one thing they also have, I noticed in Baltop, they have the town bank, so you can actually see who has the most in their town bank, which is kind of neat, I think.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. So another thing we'll be fixing, of course, is residence. Now residence, there's a bug right now that we might not be able to fix. It might be up to the developers to fix it, but there is an alternative plugin we might install as a last resort that does the same thing that residence does. And in fact, from the looks of it, it might actually do what residence does better. And if that's the case, then we'll just replace residence altogether. So that one's still up in the air, though. Aside from that, we're going to, let's see here, we're going to be just making other little small repairs to various bugs and glitches. There's no need to really list them all. A lot of the other ones are pretty insignificant. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the big announcement. Thank you everyone for watching this. We appreciate your time. I know this is a long video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and so you all know, we're going to be doing a questions and answer video later in the week where we're going to be answering all your questions. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments section below, post them on the forum, shoot them at me, it doesn't matter. We're going to be answering every single question that comes up, okay? And if you have any concerns, we understand this is a big change. There's going to be some things that some players won't like. Be sure to shoot them at us, and maybe we'll make adjustments to it as needed. We still are open to feedback to a certain extent. Okay, so thank you once again. Like I said, be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.
Yep. Thank you for watching. See you all.